Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, April 19th, coming to you live from Seoul. I'm Kim Mo-kyeon. From today, healthcare workers for the disabled and senior citizens, as well as flight attendants, will be able to get their COVID-19 shots. Meanwhile, concerns continue as the nation confirmed 9 cases of the so-called Indian double mutant variant. Today marks the 61st anniversary of the April 19 pro-democracy movement, which led to the toppling of the authoritarian government of Lee Seung-man and put the country on the long road to democracy. President Moon Jae-in stressed the need to move forward towards a more mature democracy. And U.S. climate envoy John Kerry said Washington has no plan to step in over Japan's plan to dump radioactive water from the Fukushima into the ocean. Now we begin with the COVID-19 situation in South Korea. The nation reported 532 new cases of COVID-19 on Monday, inching slightly down from the 600s as fewer people get tested over the weekend. Now, of those cases, 512 were locally transmitted and 20 were from overseas. There were 4 additional deaths, raising the death toll to 1,801. Now, South Korea's total number of cases is now over 114,000. And as of midnight, more than 1.5 million people in South Korea have received their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Beginning today, more COVID-19 vaccines will be given to people in South Korea, healthcare workers for the disabled, senior citizens and veterans, as well as flight attendants. However, South Korea is facing growing concerns over new strains as it has confirmed 9 cases of the so-called Indian double mutant variant. Our Lee Kyung-eun reports.
Starting Monday, South Korea begins inoculating healthcare workers for the disabled, seniors and veterans, as well as flight attendants. These groups of recipients will be administered with a vaccine developed by AstraZeneca. But with the ongoing concerns over the AstraZeneca's vaccine's link with rare cases of blood clotting, the rollout will be limited to those over 30 years old. And starting next Monday, on April 26, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and dialysis patients will be eligible for the AstraZeneca vaccine too. This comes after the government resumed the AstraZeneca vaccine rollout last week after partially suspending its use due to safety concerns. Despite the country's vaccination efforts being well underway, the country is facing a fresh threat from COVID-19 variants. Health authorities on Sunday confirmed that the country has 9 cases of the so-called double mutant strain. The variant, first detected in India, has gone through 2 mutations within the same virus. Of the 9 cases, 2 patients tested positive in March, while the rest were confirmed this month. All of them have recently entered the country after visiting India. Despite mounting concerns over the new variant, the government stressed that the virus has not yet been found to be more dangerous.
Right now, the transmissibility and deadliness of the Indian variant has not been fully investigated, and the WHO has not identified it as a variant of concern, so we are now closely monitoring the situation.
While studies are ongoing, some scientists worry that the new Indian variant may hurt the effectiveness of existing vaccines. Lee Kyung-eun, Arirang News.
The top infectious disease expert in the U.S. says Americans will know by autumn if a 3rd COVID-19 vaccine shot is necessary. Speaking to ABC's This Week on Sunday, Dr. Anthony Fauci said it would depend on when immunity wanes, which is likely to be determined by summer or fall. The comments come as the CEO of Pfizer suggested last week that people will likely need a 3rd booster shot within 6 to 12 months after being fully vaccinated. Moderna and Johnson & Johnson have also suggested something along the same lines. For the first time in a year, Israel has lifted its mask mandate for public spaces. The move comes as the country has vaccinated over 53% of its citizens with 2 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Lee Seung-jae has more.
Israel ended a year-long requirement on Sunday to wear a mask in public spaces and the latest easing of COVID-19 restrictions following its mass vaccination drive. While masks are still required indoors and at large gatherings, For many, the change is something they need time to get used to.
Being without a mask for the first time in a long time, it feels weird, but it's a very good weird. It's like being with the mask is like part of me for a really long time. So being without it is it's weird but good.
Despite the move, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stressed that the pandemic isn't yet over and that citizens should remain cautious.
First, we are not done with the masks yet, meaning inside buildings, inside classrooms, we wear masks. Outdoors, we can take them off. It is still recommended to wear them in crowded events, but generally, indoors, masks, outdoors can be taken off. The second thing is that we still have not finished with the coronavirus. It can return.
Israel has also reopened its schools, allowing all primary and secondary school grades to return to classrooms. Teachers are instructed to continue ventilating classrooms and maintaining social distancing in classrooms and during breaks. This comes as Israel has been able to vaccinate over 53% of its 9.3 million citizens with 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. Its world-leading vaccination campaign has helped Israel lift most of its COVID-19 restrictions, as the country even announced last week that it would be reopening the country to vaccinated foreign tourists from May. In the months since Israel launched its mass vaccination campaign in December, virus cases and deaths have fallen significantly. So far, the country has reported over 836,000 cases and 6,331 deaths. 이승재, Arirang News.
South Korean President Moon Jae-in paid his respects at the April 19th National Cemetery this morning, marking the 61st anniversary of the 1960 pro-democracy movement. Following the visit, Moon, via social media, called the April 19 revolution the root of South Korea's democracy, adding that the country must continue to strive towards a more mature democracy. On April 19, 1960, thousands of demonstrators, mostly students, took to the streets to oppose the government of President Lee Seung-man, which had rigged an election the month before. Authorities cracked down hard, killing more than 180 civilians and wounding thousands more. This led to the toppling of the Lee government, which had ruled for 12 years. A government ceremony is being held as we speak. U.S. climate envoy John Kerry, who was in Seoul over the weekend for talks, said Washington has no plan to step in on Japan's plan to dump radioactive water from Fukushima into the ocean. During their talks, South Korean Foreign Minister asked for U.S. cooperation on the matter. Our foreign affairs correspondent Yoon Jung-min has a story.
The U.S. does not plan to take an immediate role regarding Japan's plan to discharge contaminated water from Fukushima into the ocean. At a press conference in Seoul on Sunday, U.S. climate envoy John Kerry said the U.S. is confident that Japan has had full consultations with the IAEA. The UN nuclear watchdog, he said, has set up a rigorous process, but he added that it's important for Japan to continue coordinating with the agency.
We think we have confidence in the ability of the IAEA and Japan and our relationship at this point, with the agency. We need to see how they progress and how they do. But we're not planning right now. We don't think it's appropriate for the United States to jump in to a process that's already underway.
The former Secretary of State clarified that the U.S. will be engaged in the implementation of the process for public health, but not in a formal way. Meeting with Kerry on Saturday, South Korea's Foreign Minister Chung Eui-yong relayed what he said were the grave concerns of the Korean people and the government regarding the issue. Chung asked for cooperation from the U.S. to ensure that Japan can provide information on the discharge of the water transparently and promptly. World leaders will be attending a summit in the U.S. virtually this coming Thursday and Friday on climate change, but Kerry said the Fukushima issue is not a topic for that forum. The envoy did say, however, that he appreciates South Korea's leadership on global and regional issues, including the climate crisis. During his meeting with Chung, the two sides agreed to cooperate on the Leaders' Summit on Climate and on the P4G Summit in Seoul set for late May. When Kerry was asked whether he expects Chinese President Xi Jinping to join Biden's summit, he said the decision is up to China, but they do expect Xi to take part since he was invited. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
Despite North Korea's prolonged pandemic-triggered border controls, the regime's imports from China spiked to a 6-month high last month at around $13 million. According to data released by Chinese customs authorities, this is a significant increase from earlier this year. It's also the highest figure since September last year, when the figure was $19 million. This as the regime is building disinfection facilities in the northwestern city of Siniju due to its proximity to the Chinese border, where all imported goods will be disinfected. The number of men fully engaged in childcare in South Korea hit an all-time high in March. According to Korean Statistical Information Service, 13,000 men stayed at home last month to take care of their preschool children. This is up 6,000 on year and also the highest figure since data was first compiled in 1999. The data only represents men who are economically inactive, or in other words, those who are neither employed or job-seeking. On the other hand, the number of women fully dedicated to child-rearing is showing a gradual decline, as the figure dropped by more than 90,000 on year in the same period. The Czech Republic has ordered 18 Russian diplomats to leave the country, saying it has garnered evidence that points to Russia's involvement in a massive ammunition depot explosion in the country in 2014. Moscow responded immediately that it will take retaliatory measures. Kim Hyo-sun reports.
The Czech Republic is expelling Russian diplomats in relation to Moscow's suspected involvement in an ammunition warehouse explosion in 2014, adding that it has collected clear evidence.
As a foreign minister of the Czech Republic, I decide to deport all workers of the Russian embassy in Prague who were clearly identified by our Secret Service as members of Russian Secret Service, SVR and GRU. 18 workers of the Russian embassy need to leave the Czech Republic in 48 hours.
The country's interior minister, who is also serving as the acting foreign minister, explained that the measure is based on, quote, unequivocal evidence provided by the Czech intelligence and security services. He added the evidence points to the involvement of Russian military agents in the massive explosion on October 16, 2014, in the country's east, which killed 2 people. Saying the Czech president, who is known for his pro-Russian views, has been informed of the development and has expressed his absolute support, the prime minister said the case is still under investigation.
I would like to commend the work of our security forces, the police of the Czech Republic, and the headquarters against organised crime, who did a professional job during the COVID pandemic. This case is still being investigated by law enforcement authorities. The Czech Republic is a sovereign state and must respond to these findings in an appropriate style.
Responding to the explosion, Moscow's foreign ministry released a statement on Sunday, which explained Russia will take retaliatory measures, describing the accusations as, quote, unfounded and absurd. It has also reportedly expelled 20 Czech diplomats, giving them 24 hours to leave. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
Good morning. The weather looks to be quite promising today. The chilly morning will turn into a warm afternoon, and highs in the capital region will finally return to season norms, while Daegu will notice afternoon highs soaring into the mid-20s. So regions in the east will have much warmer afternoon highs today. Low single-digit morning lows in Chuncheon will get up to 23 degrees, Gyeongju at 24 degrees. And we'll have sunny skies all day with decent air quality nationwide. In fact, the sunshine can be quite strong today with high UV levels across the country. And Jeju Island will have stronger sunlight today, so don't forget your sun protection items. This week is looking much warmer and more stable than last week. In fact, unseasonably warm temperatures are in the forecast for the capital region. I mean, it could even feel like early summer on Wednesday. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the weather conditions around the world.
And that will do it for us at this hour on Arirang News. We'll be back at noon Korea time, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching and goodbye.